Alright, this guy's recording. This guy's recording. Beautiful.
Something that gives us pleasure or moves us not at all. Many of us perhaps aren't sure what it is we're supposed to be taking in or trying to understand. Consider how something is made as well as what it is.
I think it enhances one's enjoyment if you can put yourself a little bit into the place of the maker.
What inspired this song was me looking through a visceral hole in the wall of my own feelings when somebody would ask me, "Hey, are you still doing music?" That's what inspired the song. It kind of felt like when I get asked the question, essentially I was being placed in this pocket where it was like, "Hey, are you still having dreams about a unicorn farting in Gandhi's mouth?" Is that still a thing with you? You know what I'm saying? You need to get checked. Like, you need to get a 9 to 5. That's the essence and the feeling I get from when I was asked the question. So I couldn't pinpoint how to explain that to someone, so I had to put it in a song. That's more of the lighter side of the inspiration. On the darker side,
oh shit, here we go again.
But also inspired the song is how people who navigate through the elements of our society and fall prey to being a victim to that tend to be ostracized, similarly to how artists are ostracized in certain areas and places of the world. And they're written off as crazy, insane. The environment that breeds these kind of conditions aren't as critically looked at in some places as the victim themselves. So even in the end of this song, the soundbite where this guy talking to me, referring to me by my birth name Rashid, was not scripted, was not some sort of like setup. Like I didn't have anybody come in and record that. That was a real person who just happened to walk up to me while my phone was recording, because I had gotten in the habit of recording downtown New Haven's ambience and just for the EP. Right. So this was an old friend of mine who at one point in time was a bit more sane, and I haven't seen him for 5 years up until that point. So when I saw him at that time, he was really mentally ill. He looked like he was addicted to alcohol as well, and he was just gone. So, I was not expecting to get emotional about that. He was gone, you know? He was not the person that I last remembered.
Paramedics and police officers. It doesn't appear anything is going on right now.
You don't remember?
But they may be.
No, I do remember you. But do I remember you? Have you been all my life?
I can't say I had any challenges. If there was anything I needed to bypass, even for a split second, it was probably my own personal attachment to the soundbite at the end of the track. If anything, I don't recall that being an issue, but it probably was at some point, and I might have just like tucked it in the back of my head. You know, like we all do that when something bothers us. And that probably was most difficult, if there was anything I can recall. And most challenging is having to give myself permission to essentially showcase someone who was very ill for the sake of proving a point and raising awareness on something, and having to bypass how this person would feel if they were to hear it.
So I'm back to the drawing boards to kind of pave the way. Nobody.
What I loved about the beat and what I loved about the process of creating the beat is that it actually was originally inspired by Danny Brown's song White Lines.
Smoke so much I faint. Drink so much I think I make to walk the plank. Bitchin' on my.
So I actually originally wrote this song to that beat, and then I went back and post and created my own beat. I had this visual of actually me being in like a sand dune desert, stranded in a place uncharted. So the fun part was finding the sounds that essentially accentuated. Not accentuate. What else?
You want.
What was the fun part and conveying visually what I felt like was a sand dune or a stranded desert, where it was just me rapping and like animations of like me being like arisen from like some sort of grave, from like a mountaintop of sand and like weird animated stuff. So yeah, the fun part in creating this track was finding those sounds that best convey that.
How are you doing?
It could be better, it could be worse. I see it. What's going on with you? Why are you have attitude?
The highlights of this track that I would love, the lyrics of this track that I would love to highlight, and what I really enjoyed hearing back to myself was, to you, I'm probably looking like a horse on a trampoline in a desert storm, placed at a time uncharted. So if I wrote a love note ascribed to how lost I am by those standards, it would sound cold-hearted.
So what does that mean to you?
It was me trying to dive deep into what I must appear as from other people's perspective, and what artists appear as from other people's perspective. And also, what I love most about the lyrics is that like we deal with family members and friends who have our best interests at heart when they're making certain suggestions, like, oh, you should maybe go to school instead of doing this artistic thing, like outlet. You should maybe pick up a trade, and so on and so forth. So highlighting the lyrics to you, I'm probably looking like a horse on a trampoline, implies that I'm probably looking really unstable in my life right now, which is why you're making these suggestions. Because I was working a 9 to 5 that paid me a lot of money, you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be saying that. You know, there's a setup that people distinguish as a lack thereof being a responsible adult or being a working citizen, that when you appear to showcase that to them, they feel the need to interject. And it's no mean any harm, but like that was what I loved about using those lyrics, is because I wanted to convey how what I assume other artists probably felt like too. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, like just believe in me. You know? Just so yeah.
What this to me, what happened, the story could get better and better. It depends on what fictation we want to do to this. What really happened to me when I wasn't looking. I was talking to a man like you I hadn't seen in 3 years or so. Has it been 3 years?
It's been a while.
The message I'm trying to leave with the listener and to take from the song is to just pay attention. You know, if you're going to ride that wave of an artist who's pursuing something very diligently, where more often than none they're sacrificing their time from their family, from their friends, and whoever else to really pursue their career, then follow them wholeheartedly. Because if you're not following them wholeheartedly and then you walk up to them and ask if they're still doing music, it's a pain in the fucking ass. What I would like the listener to take is, you know, just pay attention. If you're with it, you're with it. If you're not, get the fuck out of the way. You know, leave it for someone else who's more like devout.
So you're trying to say, like, if you have this sort of ambition as an artist, or if you have a trade, follow that. Is that kind of?
Oh, absolutely. I encourage artists to follow it, to follow their calling wholeheartedly. But I also, for the listener, because I hope it didn't come off like cocky. I'm not saying that it's that black and white. But what I am saying, though, I assume what other artists feel like when they're asked if they're still doing music, is that you don't share the same sentiment that's like bringing them to continue to do it, and they feel that when you're asking them the question. And so what I would want the listeners to take in is just like be more mindful of maybe perhaps like you would like to inquire about someone who you essentially was not paying as much attention to as you thought you were.
That's a wrap, man.